Hey yo, what's good, reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my good old friend Kathleen, and today we're filming a video where she's gonna pick out some books and I'm gonna be forced to read them. It's gonna be a grand old time. So basically Kathleen's gonna be picking out some books that are related to Halloween in some kind of way. I've given her some guidelines. One of the books we decided you're gonna pick on the title and description.
Yeah.
And then the other one's gonna be a book based on a cover, and then I'm asking her to pick out a manga that has something to do with like the spooky vibes. Spooky! Yo, spooky! Yeah! Insert Barnes & Noble montage here. Back from Barnes & Noble, Kathleen picked out some books. She took her time, she was very thorough, researched all the books.
Stressed out because I could be mean and be like, yeah, you have to read Twilight, but I want to pick books that hopefully he'll enjoy at least a little bit and that aren't going to be super boring, so I read the description of all of them. I didn't just base it off how it looks.
She was like studying each and every book we picked up. And I kept like having to like hold back on being like, oh, this could be a good book. It's very hard.
I probably passed over some ones that he wanted to read, but I also kept picking ones that he already read or that he already owned, so I know my friend. First, we went to the manga section. This is what I picked out for that. It's called Smashed, and it says 13 Chilling Nightmares presented by the Master of Horror. It definitely sounds like it has a Halloween theme because it's a bunch of kind of scary stories, and also, how cool is this? It's all in black and white.
Most manga is.
Pick number one. Next one was based off of the cover alone. This one kind of stood out to me on the shelf. It's called Teeth in the Mist, which already sounds kind of creepy, but it has this girl on it. I don't know if you can tell, but she's like upside down. Like, look. Her hair's all spread out and that's the right side up.
Cover's very confusing.
Yeah, the cover's confusing. It looks kind of creepy. She looks like she could maybe have some sort of powers or be dead. Yeah. Hopefully it's good.
I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
And the last one. This one was kind of based on the cover and on the description because to me, magical-y things are also Halloween-y. Crows for sure remind me of Halloween because did you know that a group of crows is called a murder? They're creepy and they're widely known to be the creepiest birds.
True.
They give you the spoops. Yeah.
Super spoops.
I love the cover so much. I love that it's like her other eye is covered up by this.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Maybe she's a crow.
Maybe. So the cover is super aesthetic, super Halloween-y, and it's all magical. And it says there's death and magic and crows.
I'm gonna be reading these, and I will tell you guys all my thoughts on them, and I'll update Kathleen on all my thoughts on them as well. This will be an interesting experiment. Let's get it. Okay, it's time for me to kick off this reading adventure. I think I'm going to be starting with Stormcrow. I feel like this one is going to be the least spoopy out of the three. These two are definitely giving me off the spoopy vibes. This one is definitely just giving me a young adult fantasy vibe, but I think I'm just gonna start with this one anyway. I guess I can kind of give you guys predictions, because I don't know about you guys, but I always go into a book with a vibe in mind. Like I feel like I kind of have an idea as to how I might feel about it, but I kind of go into a book being like, I have a good vibe about this book. I have a little bit of an iffy vibe with this book. That doesn't mean it's always right. In fact, I really like when I'm wrong. So the Stormcrow, I'm expecting this to be a young adult fantasy story. I have kind of like an unsure vibe about this one. Like I feel like it could end up impressing me, but I don't have really strong feelings at all. This one, Smashed, I feel like I'm going to like a lot. I feel like it's going to be very gruesome, but I think I'm gonna like it. And maybe that's just because I haven't read a manga in a while, so it'll be nice to read this and be back in the manga world. Might even cosplay as this girl at some point in the video. Lastly, we've got Teeth in the Mist, and this one I am like the most skeptical of. I don't know why, but this cover is just really cheesy to me. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I don't know the genre of this one. I can only imagine that it's a young adult thriller. I haven't had the best track record with young adult thrillers. That's kind of why I have a bit of an iffy feeling with this, because just in general, I have iffy feelings towards young adult thrillers. Like I haven't read that many that are standouts for me. We'll see how I end up feeling. But I'm gonna get started with the Stormcrow today, and I will share with you my thoughts the deeper I get into it. Let's do this. Okay, Okay, I have started The Storm Crow, and I can finally tell you a little bit about this book, because going in I literally knew nothing about it. I knew that there was a storm probably, and crows, so like that's all. I was just going off the title here. Basically, this is about a kingdom that has these giant crows, and they have riders that ride the crows. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Each year they have this festival involving the crows and the hatching of new crows, I believe. But basically, this year, madness ensues. Like a full-on war breaks out, pretty much. A storm, if you will. A storm crow, because the crows are involved, because like all the crows get murdered, the queen gets murdered. Our story follows the two princesses, and they have to like try to pick up the pieces again. And part of that is one of the princesses is being married off to a prince from a kingdom who basically came and caused all the chaos and killed all the crows and the queen and whatnot. So that's basically what this book is about. It's about these two princesses really just trying to figure things out, trying to sort out how they're going to gain control again, because they basically have no control right now. It doesn't have a Halloween vibe at all, which is kind of what I wanted Kathleen to pick out for me, but I don't even care because I'm really enjoying this book, and I kind of knew going into this that it wasn't going to be a Halloween book, so I went in prepared. I'm not disappointed. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. I wasn't sure if it would really be up my alley, but up my alley it is. It has a banger of an opening. Like, so much happens in the first chapter alone. It's like, whoa, okay, slow it down, except don't slow it down. Keep this pace up because I'm enjoying this pace. It's not like so much happens to the point where it's overwhelming. It's just a lot happens, and it's like, whoa. That's a lot. I really liked the realistic reactions to tragedy because, like, obviously this really tragic thing just happened to their kingdom, and our main character isn't just like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll move on. No, she's like dealing with it and like mourning, and they're like actually going through it instead of just like shrugging it off. The relationship between the two princesses, the two sisters, is really interesting. It's got kind of like an Anna and Elsa vibe, I want to say, and the fact that they're kind of distant and they're also complete opposites. So I'm hoping that they work through their differences and end up in a full-on musical number by the end of the book. Update time! I got a haircut, and I don't hate it. I'm just wearing a hat because I feel like wearing a hat, and that's my story. Anyway, I'm not here to update you on my hair. I'm here to update you on The Storm Crow. I'm about 150 pages out from the ending, and I'm still really liking this book. I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know why, but I kind of went into this book a little skeptical for some reason. I will say that it's not necessarily slamming me left and right with surprises, but that's okay because I feel like the characters are kind of really pulling their weight with this story. They're the ones that are making it really enjoyable, and I'm really enjoying getting to know this cast of characters. One thing that is kind of bothering me just a little bit is this overuse of this saying that just keeps popping up, and that's this, I'm not gonna be a pawn. I won't be used as a pawn. I'm not a pawn. Like, we get it. You don't want to be a pawn, and you're not gonna be a pawn. Note it. It's probably really only showed up twice, but both times it just like popped out at me, and I was annoyed because I feel like I see that line in a lot of YA dystopian and a lot of YA fantasy, so I'm just kind of done with it. It's almost the new she let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding line. Something that I'm really loving is the relationship between our main character and her best friend slash guard. They just have such a solid friendship, and I really like seeing their sisterhood throughout the story. And I feel like I've been sniffing a little enemies to lover plotline potentially, but I could be wrong. I haven't finished the book yet, so we'll see what happens. We done so! I finished the first book! Yeah. Can I get a yee to the ha? Yeehaw! This was a really great read. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I'm also kind of shocked because I haven't heard many people talk about this book, and it's really great. Mind you, I did not give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I really liked it, and I felt like it was a very solid fantasy. I think something that really surprised me about this book, and something that I really liked and respected about it, was how it just kind of openly talked about depression. In this book, our main character is dealing with depression, and it becomes a big part of our main character's journey. It's not something that's just mentioned and then never mentioned again. Like, it's an ongoing battle that she's dealing with on the daily, and I really liked seeing that be explored. I do feel like we're getting to a point in young adult fantasy where things like mental health are being explored, and I really like that. The writing was pretty solid. I enjoyed it, other than that pawn line that just kept jumping out at me, and I think I'm definitely interested in picking up the sequel when it comes out. I think it comes out next year or something like that. So Kathleen, you done good with this pick, sis. Next up, I'm gonna pick up the manga she picked out for me, Smashed. The cover for this one is really creepy, so I'm hoping that I get creeped out. That's the goal here. Get creeped out. I read quite a bit of Smash tonight, well, as much as my dog would let me, because he kept laying on my book and growling at me, and he also just kept looking adorable, and I just wanted to cuddle with him. So inconsiderate, you know? I am overall really liking it. I will say that I feel like it's trying to use shock factor as its scare tactic. Like, ooh, look at how bloody and gruesome we can take this. Isn't that so scary? Which, yeah, it is. It's really scary and really twisted and really gross. But to me, it's not necessarily scary, I guess. It's more of just like an uncomfortable feeling I'm having while reading it, because there's just so much goriness on every page. I'm gonna finish this tomorrow for sure, so I will update you then with all of my thoughts. Update time! Oh, that's not the cover. Update time! I finished the manga this morning. Story 11, this one was really interesting because it was kind of like a book lover's horror story. Basically, we follow this guy who has this big fear of his books going missing. Like, if books start disappearing, he literally starts having a meltdown. And this story really heavily dealt with childhood trauma, which was really interesting to be explored in that story. I wasn't expecting that. But overall, I really loved that one, and I feel like it was my favorite in the collection. So, my thoughts overall on the story collection, on this manga, I think I really enjoyed it. It definitely has some things that could be considered problematic, so I can't necessarily recommend it. I don't want people reading this book and being like, Jesse the Reader recommended it, and then they read it and they're like, Jesse the Reader is problematic. I've said it once and I'll say it again. It's okay to read problematic content as long as you're aware of the fact that it's problematic content and you're bringing light to the issues within the story. And the big issue with this book is that it uses things like suicide and animal abuse as shock factor within the story, which is definitely not okay. Like, it's not okay to do that at all. But there were elements outside of those issues that I really liked. For example, a lot of these stories are super creative and interesting, and I came out of each story pretty pleasantly surprised. All right, I'm on to my final book for this project, and that is Teeth in the Mist. So let's get going. I started Teeth in the Mist last night, and this cover keeps tripping me out. I keep thinking that it needs to be this way, but it's this way. But every time I see it, I just want to go like this. I'm like around 170 pages into this book, and the best way that I can describe this book right now is demonic. So I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about that. Like, that kind of makes me feel a little bit uncomfy, but I did want a spooky book, so it's delivering on that front. It does also have this really nice visual element going for it. We got some pictures, we got some nice graphics. I love me some good visuals in books. The one thing that I will say right now is that I'm kind of feeling a bit of a disconnect with the characters. I'm not sure if I just need to get deeper into the story and get to know them more. Also, that's not necessarily a bad thing with books. Not every book is going to be character driven necessarily, and this one just feels like it's going down more so the plot lane rather than kind of having a balance of going down both the plot lane and the character lane. So we'll see how I end up feeling about this one. Update time! I've gotten quite a bit deeper into this book and I've got some thoughts, so I'm going to share those thoughts with you. Something that I'm really liking about this book is that it's got all these different story threads happening, and I'm not really sure how it's all going to be threaded together, but I'm kind of okay with that. I kind of like being not in the know. We've got one thread that's taking place in the present, we've got one thread taking place in 1851, and then another thread taking place in 1853, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, that's right. I will say too that it's definitely delivering some creepiness, so I'm happy about that, even though some of the demonic stuff I'm just like, this is a lot. I feel uncomfortable reading this. I feel like something that I'm having a little bit of an issue with. There are times when I just feel really confused with what's happening because there's a lot happening and there's a lot to keep track of. Other than that, enjoying it so far. Will update you when I finish it. Another one donezo. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner, and that is me. Final thoughts on this book. There were so many things in it that I really liked being incorporated. Like, I liked the text messages, I liked the letters, the pictures, the graphics. There were just so many things visually going for it that I really enjoyed. But the one thing where this book lost me was just kind of how convoluted this book was. There was just so much going on, which is not necessarily a bad thing. There were just times that I felt confused and I felt like I needed to backtrack to like kind of really understand what was happening. And I'm leaving this book wondering to myself if it really clicked for me. Like, it feels like I need to give this book a reread to fully understand everything that happened and how everything kind of came to a close. There's just so much to take in and digest with this book. In terms of spookiness though, this one delivered. It's like, hello, I'm here in your face, I'ma spook it up, which is what I really wanted. So I really liked that aspect of it. It goes in a very dark direction, and not just by the end of it, like throughout the story, like it continues to get into these like really dark places. I kind of expected a bigger bang at the end. Like, I wanted my head to be blown off by the end of it. I wanted to be looking like this girl right here, standing on my head because of how crazy the book was. But again, I feel like this one deserves a reread for me to kind of solidify my feelings on it. But for now, I'm gonna settle with a 3.5 stars out of 5 stars. So my final thoughts on this little experiment. This was a lot of fun, and I honestly did not know what to expect from this experience. Kathleen could have very easily picked up books that I was going to despise, but thankfully she picked out some pretty good ones. It was kind of nice going into these books without any real expectations. I had only really heard of the Stormcrow. The other two I hadn't really heard much of. So it was nice going into these books not knowing a lot about them and not knowing a lot about what other people were saying about them, because I go into a lot of books kind of already knowing what people are saying about them just because I'm involved in the online book community, so I see a lot of opinions on books left and right on the daily. But these are books that I went into not really knowing anything about them or what people had thought about them. And I also kind of enjoyed the process of somebody else being in control of what I read, which I'm really surprised that I even ended up sticking with this, because if you guys know me at all, you know that I do not stick to TBRs. And my best friend picked me out a TBR and I stuck with it. I feel like I should go treat myself with a book now. Is that how this works? But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. You should let me know down below in the comments if you guys have ever done anything like this, or if you've ever received a book from a friend and you read it and you ended up loving it. Let me know down below in the comments what that book was. Again, thank you to Kathleen for being a part of this video and picking up my TBR. I will leave a link down below to her Instagram where she's the most active, so be sure to go and follow her if you want to. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-oh!